Welcome to Pod Mavericks presents Mavs Party. I am Kirk Henderson, editor-in-chief over at MavsMoneyball.com. This is our second post-game show where you get to participate and fire off your takes. For those of you watching live on YouTube, you can click on the pinned comment to join us here up on. It brings you into an app called StreamYard, which works just like Zoom or anything else you might have, FaceTime, whatever you want to think about it as. Brings you into a waiting room where you can come talk basketball with me, and you can get off any thoughts you've had about the Dallas Mavericks. And it's just a nice time to continue hanging out and enjoy reveling after a win. I already got one gentleman waiting in the room, and I'm going to bring him up here. But those of you who have additional thoughts, please go ahead and click into the show, and we'll hang out here. All right, Brian, what's going on, my man?
Yo, nothing much. Just I'm just happy we got out of there with a win. There was a lot going on
ugly
in this game.
Little ugly, but I want. Luka very rarely has two dog shit games in a row, and though Sarah's in the chat noting that he was in a not great place physically, I think if Luka's in a good place physically, then something's gone wrong. He just seems to be kind of your Derrick Henry of basketball players who needs to get the shit kicked out of him a little bit to play well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he figures out how to turn around a hilariously awful 5 of 22 shooting performance.
Yeah, and against Minnesota too. It's gonna happen, I feel like, especially as Minnesota is still kind of like trying to figure out their situation right now still. Yep. Like Julius has looked a lot better since game 2, quite frankly. But I do still think they're working out some kinks, and it's gonna leave some room for Luka to get some one-on-one matchups that he likes and hopefully go to the rim and, create something for himself with his teammates that looks a little bit better than the process we've seen from him the last 2 games.
Yep. And after, like, Luka's not I keep saying stuff in a hedged tone because I don't feel like getting like clipped and aggregated. But the 40-point game wasn't particularly interesting. His first game against the San Antonio Spurs was fine. It was kind of bleh too, with the exception of like a burst in the third quarter. We're early in the season, and MVP candidate Luka has yet to make himself known. And I think a national TV game against a chief rival is a good opportunity.
Let's hope so, because the national TV game against the old rivals, he went out there and he laid a stinker. Like, he had 40, but that dude came out slow and casual and not really taking things seriously and just not really picking his spots the way that he needed to and not attacking the weak points on the other team's defense that he needed to, just going one-on-one with whoever was in front of him. And that trickled down to the rest of the team. Mm-hmm. And we see what that got us against Phoenix. So we're playing a better team against Minnesota on the second night of a back-to-back for us. So we kind of need to get started early. We can't afford to fall behind early. We can't afford to be trading blows. We kind of need to overwhelm them a bit, get out to a good lead. Luka plays much better from in front than he does from behind. It would help with that. We started the best center.
And who's that?
Maxi, it's Derek Lively.
It's there. So you're telling me it's not the guy who's been starting in our friend and center that we appreciate, Daniel Gafford. You don't think Daniel Gafford should be starting?
Our big, soon-to-be Slovenian national friend Daniel Gafford, who has been worked by.
Wasn't I the first one to say that out loud?
I feel like it was either you or Stein. It was one of you two. I can't remember who.
No, because Stein knew, but I said it because I had heard it like an idiot.
That's right, actually. That's right.
And I was just like, this is why I shouldn't report. Because I hear shit all the time, but I can't remember. But
nobody tells you what you shouldn't say. And it's just like, I just know this thing.
It's not that Gafford is somebody phrased it earlier. Gafford is the second best center Luka Doncic has ever played with, and like let's put KP aside for now because KP is a different style player, but Lively is amazing with Luka right now, and I don't think by not playing them all their minutes together, you're not maximizing Lively, and I think that stinks.
Not only are you not maximizing them, Derek Lively is still getting better. Like in these games. Like from game 1 to now, like he had some trouble with Nurk. Now, it wasn't helped by the fact that, Daniel Gafford and Max Sleeper kind of let him get going before he got his crack at him. But, yeah, even from what we've seen in the preseason to what we saw in game one to getting to this point, Derek Lively is still improving. And I think in order to nurture that, we need that dude getting minutes with the starters, as many as we possibly can. He needs all that extra spacing to play with, and he doesn't need to be, trying to get his game off and also figure out, okay, where does Quentin Grimes like to catch the ball if I'm going to kick it to him in the corner? Like, he doesn't need to be sorting that out. That should be for the bench guys to sort out.
This is a good
bench
point,
guys sort this out with the bench guys.
I actually, JB being a little, this is a kind of joke comment, but I actually think there's something to it. Gafford has an elite flex and mean mug game. When Gafford is powering through stuff, it's a different level of electricity than when Derek Lively's doing it. It's just it's something that Gafford brings, and I actually agree with that.
I'm going to one up you. Not only will I agree with that, I'll double down and say I agree. And you know where you're going to see a lot more of that? When he's going against bench big as opposed to starters. You're not going to see a lot of that against the Zubats. You're not going to see a lot of that against
That's true.
Anthony Davises. You're not going to see a lot of that.
Well, they both need Luka, but that's the thing. Both these guys need Luka to maximize. And I just don't think – I think the offense, the more I think about it, and I don't have enough tape for this. I'm probably wrong. But the offense feels clunky at the start of these games, and I think it's more because there's not the lively Luka pick and roll. It's the Gafford Luka pick and roll, which is still pretty good, but it's not the same.
It's not as seamless. And not only does – he obviously needs Luka. Luka needs him on both ends in a very bad way.
Luka wore 4 pairs of shoes in this game. That's how pissed he was at his own shooting. Sorry, what? I just saw that on
Wait, really?
Luka Don Kicks on X posted it.
Okay, now I'm watching this game back tonight. I'm looking for that because I did not know that.
That's a good piece. Well, the lively of it all, I don't think is going to sort itself out anytime soon. I saw Noah Weber posted a video of it, and unfortunately, I think the more we talk about it, the more it becomes a thing, and it will become a thing, and then it will elevate to a national discourse where the nuances of the thing get lost, and then it becomes a Stephen A. Smith yelling match, and I just don't want that.
I don't want that, but what I don't want more than anything, because you know what's funny? National guys are already asking about it. Like Sam Vecini is on his podcast talking to Bryce, and Bryce Hyman is like, I don't understand why Daniel Gafford is starting over Derek Lively. That doesn't make sense. Like, that's already happening on the National Guys Pod. What I don't want it to be is something that gets back to Kid, where Kid is like, you know what?
Oh, he already knows.
Kid I know he knows. I know he's online. But I just don't want him, bless you, I don't want him digging in his heels. That's what I don't want. I don't want him.
Oh, because he's that kind of guy.
He will do it. 100%. He'll start him for 20 games just to make a point.
There's something to that, man. So you're the only one who's decided to join us tonight because everyone else is being a gigantic coward, i.e. nobody really has anything interesting to say after game 3, which is fine. I don't really have strong takes myself. I mean, I like part of it is like I like talking to everybody. So I want to get in the habit of doing this. So I'm not, last year I had the baby and I had the excuse. So now I don't have, I still have the baby, but I no longer have the excuse because he goes to sleep. And so it's just, I want to get in the habit of doing these to let people know, hey, we can come in here and talk basketball. But I think, the combination of one, it being early season, 2, the Mavs early schedule is a little wonky. Like, we have at least 5 or 6 people who show up in these after going to Mavs games. Like, you and I, at least you haven't called in from a game yet. You may have called in after going out to meeting up with some friends, but it's a little, it's kind of a different deal earlier in the season. So it's like, I need to this is my fault for not doing these enough over the summer. So what else from this game really jumped out at you? Because I got a couple of things that I don't think I talked about enough with Josh.
Yeah. Just Quentin Najee looking a lot better in the second half. That was encouraging because it was getting kind of bleak and people were starting to overreact, like Josh said, particularly with Najee. But with Quinn. It was quiet, but there were murmurs, and I was like, dude, he's a much better player than what we're seeing right now. Give it like 10 games, and I don't think we'll be talking about any of this. But they looked better in the second half. That was cool. Kyrie. So
Great
in the
Kyrie
first
game.
half, in the first half, it felt. I feel like this is more like the Kyrie game we're used to, because in the first half, I was complaining and bitching at him, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? And second half, cleaned it up.
He had a lefty finish in the third or fourth quarter that we were on the playback together where I just started yelping. And I've learned to temper all my Kyrie thoughts as long as he looks assertive. And I've thought through 3 games, he's displayed a level of, he doesn't press, but he also isn't like, all right, I'm here to make sure, OJ Mayo gets shots or somebody that I don't care about. Like, he's taken good shots. Sometimes they haven't gone in. That's fine. He's very talented. I know he's a slight smaller guy. I do want to see continued rim pressure from him. That's kind of one thought that I've had. But tonight I thought he was a lot better with that. He's a good basketball player, man. And, I was talking about this in another group chat earlier tonight because I think the We Talk Mavs guys were like yelling at Brad Townsend. One of the two hosts was yelling at Brad Townsend, and it's like,
Or Brad, man.
Brad's a different cat, and he's a good dude, too old to be on Twitter. So am I, quite candidly, but at least I've been here since the beginning. But it's one of these things where it's like the Kyrie of it all. If you were pro Kyrie before he came here, you have been validated. If you were anti Kyrie, like I was before he came here, you have had to say you were wrong. And I don't have a problem with that. I have got to say, though, the continued evolution of watching him play has been really nice. So it's like if you were a Kyrie hater, so we got JB, looks like a Celtics fan in the chat, you have every right to be very frustrated by what he gave you relative to his level of play that he was capable of. I didn't think he was capable of what he's given Dallas, man. And the fact that he's 32 and still playing like he's playing, I'm really pleased watching him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, look, man, he's still moving great. There are no hitches, there are no, clear signs of progression. Like you said, there were shots that weren't falling, and there was a bit of a lack of aggression in the Phoenix game, at least like going towards the rim. But
Sure.
his aggression on ball was still, exactly. But his aggression on ball was still there, and in this game, it was still there. The shots fell a little bit more than they did in the previous game, and I think that's really kind of been the key difference between why I'm not as encouraged as I feel like I should be about our start as when I watch some of these other teams and I see their stars like, okay, they're ready to get downhill, they're getting into the paint, they're touching the paint every play, every other play. Like we haven't, like Kyrie is here now. Kyrie is doing that, or at the very least doing his part. We need Luka to get with the program, and then we're going to be set. And then we'll probably start to see more of those middies and threes fall. Mm-hmm. And then we're really off and rolling.
It's a cascade. So, I mean, like for everybody that's a little bit frustrated with some of the Mavericks role players, I think you lay some of that at the fact that, like, you don't want to have to give a shit about whether Najee Marshall or Grimes is hitting shots. If once Luka does, everything else starts to open up. So Kyrie had one play, and I'm going to demonstrate to everybody. I'm going to take off the headphone. So, like, he's catching the ball here, right? Catch the ball like this. He pulls one of these, man, and he goes all the way back and takes one power dribble from the middle of the free throw line and pulls up at the right elbow, and just the shot falls through. And go try that shot out on your own goal if you have one, guys. Like, do a spin from 15 feet away, take a power dribble and pull up and see if you don't fall over.
Yeah, it's literally like the KD practice shot, like the pregame shot that he takes where he spins around and pulls.
Yes.
That's so hard.
It's so hard. And you're watching it and you're like, it looks like a video game move. And it doesn't – it looks –
He did it with a dude on him.
Yes. That's what – and it's like it looks basic is what I'm getting at. And it's like it's such an incredible display of balance that I wanted to, because like I nearly like cramped my hamstring spinning around in the circle here while sitting in my fucking desk chair. Like some of the stuff that dude, I do that in my sleep, nothing but net every time while screaming Kobe. Right. That's the main thing. And so it's anyway. I don't know. I just wanted to talk about him, man, because he's just good.
No, look, when he's on, it is the best thing you could possibly watch in basketball. Or it's right up there. I'll put it like a great Kyrie game, a great Kyrie offensive performance, or like a great Kyrie defensive performance. He's been holding his own so far this season defensively. He's been fine, and coming out of like the playoffs, and coming into the offseason and getting Clay and all the point of attack talk, it's like, look, dude, if you just ask Kyrie and Luka to just defend their positions for like 6 to 7 minutes a game, we're gonna end up being all right. And for the most part, they've done that. Like Luka's had some lazy possessions here or there. For the most part, they've done what's been asked of them defensively. Look, man, I'm really excited about what this team can be, because we're still 2-1 with all the bull that we have to complain about still.
That's right.
Luka shot 5 for 22 and had like 4 turnovers, something like that. And we won a game almost by double digits, if not for like a last second 3. Mm-hmm. Right? And like had like 2 minutes of garbage time or whatever.
Well, that
never happened 3 years ago.
Brandon Williams, we hardly knew you.
Yeah, that.
Happy trails, my guy, who shot such a heinous layup drive that resulted in a Utah fast break and
a 3. Dude, it never made it over the rim. It hit the side of the rim, then the bottom of the backboard, and fell straight down.
It's the line was 11.5 points, and the game was 11 at that, and that was not it, my guy. That was just not it. Well, doesn't seem like anybody else is joining us tonight. Maybe I'll. You know what? I'm just going to post this as one separate show. It's a short. We got a short break till tomorrow's game. I got to go do some writing because, of course, I do. Thank you so much for hanging out, Brian. You got anything else before we get out of Dodge?
Hey, Spencer, it's good to know you're alive, brother.
Man, that one that he made going to the right, I don't know who passed it to him, but it was from the left wing, almost left corner. And
it was the left corner, and he got right to like the break, and he did like a little half spin fade. And I was like, if he makes this, then it's just his night.
It was the kind of, so against the Celtics way back when he was on the team in that 10-game run, like where he made the game winner. Brother. Yeah. That was crazy. That's what that reminded me of. Just the kind of like, all right, this is some bullshit. And it's in. So, all right, team. Everybody see you tomorrow night. Thanks so much for hanging out. Everybody be good and go Mavs.